Javai Amabulat Diranawa, and welcome to Ita See the World. And today we have our special guest, our family, our whānau from Waikato University in Aotearoa, New Zealand. And this year they visit Taiwan for 6 weeks immersive Indigenous exchange program. And today they are going to share with us what they saw and learned from this journey. And before we start the interview, they are going to share with us their traditional Maoli dance and chants. Let's listen to their voice. So, kia ora everybody, welcome to Taiwan.
Kia ora.
Kia ora. And thank you for joining us today, and so happy to have you here. And so first, could you say hi to our audience first and introduce what is your role and what is your major in the Waikato University?
Kia ora koutou, ko Nathan Rahui tōku ingoa, huri tēnei no Ngāti Whātua no Ngāpuhi hoki. So kia ora everybody, my name is Nathan. I am a project lead for Māori business at the University of Waikato in the Deputy Vice Chancellor Māori Office. Woo!
Yay! Okay, next.
Kia ora koutou, ko Mahirangi tōku ingoa, huri tēnei no Ngāti Tamatira, Ngāti Tikorehe hoki. I am in my 4th and final year of a Bachelor of Management Studies with Honours at Te Whare Wānanga o Waikato.
Kia ora koutou, ko Liv Mellon tōku ingoa, huri tēnei no te maunga tito e ao taranaki ko Ngāti Māori Waranui te iwi. I am in my 3rd and final year of a Bachelor of Arts majoring in Māori and Indigenous Studies at the University of Waikato.
Kia ora e karema, mai make tū ki Tongariro, ko te arawa te waka, ko te arawa te iwi, mai ngā kuria whārei ki Tihirau, ko mātātua te waka, ko te whānau apanui te iwi. My name's Rua me Tohamiora, and I study a Bachelor of Arts double major in Māori and Indigenous Studies and Te Reo Māori.
Mauri ora kia tātou katoa, ko Nakira Wipiri tōku ingoa, he uri ahau no Ngāti Kahungunu ki Wairoa, me Ngāpuhi hoki, ko te apu o Ngāti Toro. Hello, my name is Nikita Wipiri, and I am in my 4th year of a Bachelor of Law at Te Whare Wānanga o Waikato.
Thank you, well done. Thank you so much. And we just saw the performance that you bring to us, and we really want to know that the meaning of the dance and the chant. And I think that the world may be most impressed by the Maoli Haka. And so could you share the meaning of the Haka and the traditional chants and dance, Ruameto?
Yes, so I'll start off with the Haka. So in traditional times, the Haka was used to psych our warriors up before they head out for war. But I think nowadays the meaning or sort of the reasons why it's been performed has changed a little bit. We use them for celebrations like birthdays, weddings, even to commemorate a loved one that's passed away. But I think it's become internationally known because of the All Blacks and when they perform it on the rugby field before a game. And traditionally our songs were laments, sort of some were monotone, some were upbeat, and some were quite slow. But our waiata aringa or our action songs were a bit more of a recent addition to Māori performing arts. And a story that I was told was that that's a result of Tā Apirana Ngata, and he wanted to bring back our taiohi, our youth, back to the Māori culture to immerse themselves in our knowledge and our gifts that we have for Māori performing arts.
Okay, so I see there is a different meaning in different occasion, right? So like which in the different tribe, does they have like different haka?
Yes, yeah. So different tribes will have different styles of haka, and it usually imitates your environment. So for instance, those on the east coast of New Zealand who live in the coastal areas, they tend to have a lower stance, imitating a crab from the shores. Those in more rural areas, inland in the forest, for instance, the people of Tūhoe who live in the forest, they stand up nice and strong, nice and tall, and that's to imitate all the trees and their surroundings and things like that.
Yeah, I can see they always related to the environments, to the land, right? So it seems like a lot of like Māori younger generation, they can do the hakas. So how do you learn traditional like dance and chants and haka? Live or
it's our culture is passed through generations, and usually it's performed a lot on our marae, our traditional meeting houses. We're thankful of national and regional competition and performances. We have one currently happening right now, Te Matatini, and it's thanks to those that, you know, performing arts is quite a common thing now across the country of Aotearoa. So you tend to learn it from a young age at kindergarten, or what we call kohanga reo, through the primary. And then once you, depending on what school you go to, once you get to intermediate, it starts to get quite competitive, and then it just becomes second nature, really.
Okay, so thank you so much. And so let's talk about the program. So Nathan, can you briefly introduce this exchange program? Because you also like collaborate with the Council of Indigenous Peoples in Taiwan and also Donghua University. So can you share with us?
Yeah, so each year the government puts out Prime Minister scholarships to Asia and Latin America, and you can either apply as an individual or for a group. So our team applied for a group scholarship for the University of Waikato. But we wanted to make one that was solely Indigenous focused because it hasn't really been done in the past. So our cohort currently in Taiwan is the first all Māori group that has come over and received one of the scholarships from a university. So in the past, for the last couple of years, we've worked with the Council of Indigenous People on a different project for my other job. So it made sense that when we look to be able to travel again, now that COVID's sort of slowly going away, that we come to Taiwan because we've already got a connection here with Taiwan. And for us as Māori, we've heard stories about how our ancestors come from Taiwan. So for us, we wanted to come over here and explore that even more and just learn as much as we can about Indigenous development. So that's what we've been doing for the last 5 weeks, and we've got one more week left. So yeah, going to do as much as we can while we're here.
So Mihirangi, do you have to share with us?
Yeah, so we have been here for 6 weeks, as Nathan just said. We actually came during the Lunar New Year, so we were staying in Taipei and we got to celebrate the Lunar New Year and learn about some of the cultural traditions and practices with some of our whānau here in Taiwan who work for NZCIO and NZTE from Aotearoa, and that was a really awesome opportunity to just connect and to settle in. We've done so much while we've been here, lots of sightseeing. In our second week we actually went to Keelung and we were greeted by Professor Lynn, who's been an amazing tour guide, and we got to learn about the marine and technology industries, and then we were even lucky enough to go up to Junshi Township in the mountains and hear from the Diane and Thao tribe. which was a super awesome experience. We've had so much Indigenous kai, Indigenous food. We've had plenty of opportunities to be able to cook and harvest and learn about self-sustainability, which has been a really common theme that we've learnt when we've connected with our Indigenous families. And we've made so many awesome connections while we've been here, and I think that's something that really sticks out to all of us, is the people that we've met and the connections that we've made, and yeah.
Yeah, so I see that you are studying in different professional field and area. So how are you selected to come to Taiwan for exchange program?
Yeah, so we put out an application process to all of our Māori students studying at the University of Waikato. Our team at Māori Ki Waikato put them out online, and if you're studying, you could apply for the program. So we've received quite a few applications actually, and then what they had to do was submit a video explaining what their reason was for wanting to come to Taiwan. After that, they did a short interview with us because we just wanted to make sure we were bringing the right students for the right reasons, and I think we definitely did that with this group too. So
yeah, the process is very interesting. And during the 6 weeks visit in Taiwan, what impressed you the most? Because you visit the tribes, indigenous tribes in the deep mountains and also by the ocean. So there must be different feeling. So let's start from Mihirangi.
Yeah, for sure. I think something that stuck with me was the fact that Taiwan has been colonized 4 times by the Dutch, the Japanese, the dynasty, and then China. So I think that was a really eye-opening moment for us as a rōpū, as a group. And something that I also found super interesting, which we've actually just presented on, is how the identity piece of how so many Indigenous peoples have lost their identity and are trying to reclaim that right now. And I think it really resonates with me as I'm on that same journey. And so I think it's, really special to hear about that. And that was something, that was a highlight for me.
Yeah, it's kind of like very fruitful journey. Yeah. So how about Liv?
I think for me, something I wasn't prepared for was the amount of connections that I would make with people here in Taiwan. Prior to coming here, I was really nervous about the language barrier, but what I've learned from being in Taiwan, being immersed with Indigenous people, is that we don't need physical language to connect. We can connect in sharing kai, we connect through song. The connections we've made are lifelong, and that is what I'm truly grateful for from this experience.
Okay, so language is never a problem. So how about you?
Yeah, I think the landmarks in Taiwan have been beautiful, especially up in the mountains. Beautiful views. I think actually seeing the similarities, like Nathan said before, there's a story that we did come from Taiwan, but seeing it, in person, it's like we can sort of compare our beliefs, our culture, our traditional values with the Indigenous people of Taiwan. So that's probably been the main highlight for me so far.
Yeah, thank you. And Nakita?
I think for me, one thing that stuck out to me was a professor that came with us up to the mountains. She had advised just there's one thing that you can do is recognise your own power. And by saying that, I think she was meaning towards, I didn't know what I wanted to do as a career. And she was like, what do you think you want to do? And I was like, I don't know, something to do with Indigenous culture. She was like, be what you want to be. I'm studying law. Be a business international lawyer. Then you can create recognition for the cultures and Indigenous people that want to succeed in life. So I think that's something that I took away from this trip, to fully understand my true potential for those that are surrounded, that want to achieve as Indigenous people in this world.
So how about Nathan?
So many highlights. The food, for one, has been amazing.
Yeah, the food.
But just like Liv said, you don't expect to meet so many awesome people, and we've met so many. We've got little brothers and uncles and aunties now that we can come back to, and they've invited us back to their homes, and we've invited them to New Zealand. So yeah, definitely connections that will carry on for years to come.
So which moments that reminded you of your hometown, or is there any similarities in Maori culture?
There are heaps. There's so many. I don't even know where to start. Other people can jump in too, but
Okay.
Just seeing the family dynamics and how they interact with food and getting together over a meal is just so similar to being back home. So the hospitality we've received over here is just like being at home for us.
What about Mihi?
Yeah, I was definitely going to add to that one. Back home, I think we've said a lot when we've been preparing the kai, preparing the food with the Indigenous families. It feels like we're back home in our marae, cooking and cleaning and doing all of that stuff. I think a key, we actually look alike as well, which is so funny.
In the face?
Yeah, we're like, oh my goodness, we are sisters, long
Yeah.
lost sisters. And I think that's something that I didn't expect to coming over here, but yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, just adding to the look-alike, especially when we were in Taitung and when we were online new, you just look around, it looks Polynesians, Māoris everywhere, just shows that we're connected. And I think from the beginning we felt like we were at home here. As soon as we stepped off the plane, you know, going to another country, completely different environment, you'd think to have some sort of culture shock. But for us, we all felt very settled as soon as we got here. So I think that's a real testament to how at home we have been feeling here in Taiwan.
Yeah, I think sort of one thing that reminded me of home was when we went to Lanyu, being sort of like close to the water, reminded me of back home. One of my tribes is a coastal tribe, so going there it was like, wow, this feels like home, like everyone has said. But another similarity with Māori beliefs or a way of thinking is actually one of our now uncles, Uncle Shat. He sort of changed his way of harvesting and looking after the land rather than using, like chemicals and stuff that actually damage the land. He's using natural resources to take care of it and still with the same goal to harvest food, grow food and things like that. But he's actually playing a part to looking after our Earth Mother.
Mm-hmm. So I noticed that before you having the meal, you will like a pray or like a blessing in Maori language. So can you like explain or share with us what's it's not like that Christian prayers, right? So can everybody share with us about
I think for that aspect we just give thanks to those that also our ancestors and the gods that sacrificed their time and efforts for us to be here today, and for the food that they've presented us with in an offering so that we are able to be safe and nourished by that meal that is presented to us. So we just recognise the sacrifices of our generations that have passed, the gods that have brought us here today, and the food that is here to nourish us.
So during the discussion with the students, with Donghua University students, is there anything you want to share in the process? Because the topic is around the sustainable development goals, right? And anybody can share about this discussion briefly?
Yeah, so I suppose for us coming over here, we wanted to make our what we were learning intentional. So what we did is partnered with the students here at Donghua to focus what we were looking at, and we chose the Sustainable Development Goals because currently with the goals, there's no Indigenous influence in the goals or Indigenous goals themselves. So I think for us, we wanted to look at it from an Indigenous point of view and combine our knowledge from Taiwan and Māori culture in New Zealand to see what some solutions may be to looking at specific goals. So yeah, our students just presented today and it was great.
Thank you. And what do you think about like the long-term exchanges and the interaction between Taiwan and New Zealand? Because we in the past we already built the bridge, and just trying to try hard to like strengthen the connection.
Yeah, from a university perspective, we hope that we can continue doing more of these for the future. So now that our students have been over here too, we want to push it out to more students to say, apply for these different programs so we can explore the world, become global citizens from an Indigenous point of view, and to find these connections and take up the opportunities as much as we can. But yeah.
Just to add to that, I think what it also creates is recognition for the stance on where our youth is today, opening their minds up to understand that they are actually capable of creating a path for themselves and future generations to come. And from that perspective, I think that creates a longevity of connection between Indigenous people in general, rather than just the connection between Taiwanese and New Zealand. We're the first start to that connection between Indigenous cultures, and then moving forward, hopefully we can all amalgamate to create a unity between us all.
How about Mihi?
Yeah, I think we've just finished doing our presentations about where we were tasked to create some actionable insights based on our learnings, and I think that what we presented, I'm not going to say because it might be something that comes into fruition later,
okay.
But I think that we have connected so well, we share so many cultural similarities, and I think as a business student, creating these connections and turning them into something that can help everyone here and back home in Aotearoa is something that we're all really passionate about, and so I think building these connections is the first step, and next is making something out of it.
I also believe that the long-term exchange is very necessary and important, and also like the Nakira mentioned about the connection between Indigenous peoples. Yeah, and so let's take a break, and then we will back to the show.